Hello and welcome to Down and Dirty with Darci. I'm your host, Darci Smith, also known as Career Coach Darci. We are here to get down and dirty about careers, uncovering salaries, wild stories, backgrounds, and more from guests with some of the most eccentric professions each week. This podcast is presented by Onomy. Welcome to Down and Dirty with Darci, where we discuss different jobs you may have never heard of. And I have Leah with me here today and Rami. Rami's my producer, so she's going to be chiming in. And let's get started with all about Leah. So she's a human design reader soul coach, a 5-1 sacral generator. If you don't know what that means, don't worry, we're going to get into it. For those of you that identify with your big three, Leah is a Scorpio sun, Gemini moon, and Cancer rising. And if you relate to an Enneagram, she's a 3-wing 4. She left a tech job making nearly 6 figures, we'll get into this, and called people and opportunities into her life. A smoothie addict, a self-help junkie, and obsessed with helping others live in alignment. Please welcome Leah to the podcast. Let's get down and fucking dirty. Welcome.
Thank you. It's so great to finally meet you. So just before I even get started, it's so cool being here because Darci is someone that I have done a reading with. And this sort of just came out of us organically as being a guest just because we've been connected since we worked together. So thank you for having me and all of you listening. I'm excited to tell you a little bit about human design and maybe a little bit about a different sort of job that's out there.
Definitely. Yeah. Let's just jump right into it. Can you tell, for the people that don't know, tell us what human design is?
Yeah. So if you're familiar with astrology, it sort of falls in that realm, but it's a lot different because human design is an empowerment system and it's an alignment system. And that basically means that it's this system that helps us get into flow and get us to use our intuition a little bit easier. And so based on the time that we're born, we all have this unique body graph. And so human design is this like system that reads this body graph. And these are all like sort of big words, but so everyone has, based on the time that they're born, this blueprint or manual that tells us how our energy works and how we can sort of flow, how we can listen to our intuition and what gifts that we have. And so what I do is I read those body graphs very similar to like a natal chart, and I help people kind of get into alignment by helping them trust their intuition, by releasing or emptying out the things that actually aren't them. And by just helping them sort of see themselves in an empowering way. So I have been doing human design for, I don't know, 3 years now, but I've been doing it actually full-time just as of this past spring. So
yeah, congrats. I know I booked you because I wanted to know, based on how I live my life in my career and in my relationships, I forced my boyfriend to do it too. So he was like all into it. And now like every time we fight or anything, he's like, oh, you're just being a generator. You're just being your manifesting generator self. So we're going to kind of get into like what that all means. But obviously like they'll be able to find you and everything that you do. But can you kind of take us back a little bit before you fell madly in love and started learning everything about human design? What were you doing before that?
Yeah, so I worked at a big Fortune 500 company. I won't mention who they were. And I actually really loved my job. I've been very career oriented my entire life. And I kind of like worked up the ladder pretty quickly, I'd say, in that job. So right after college, I started there and I was working in our IT group, which was like second in the world. And I worked up to sort of helping lead a development team. And so if you're familiar with like Agile or which is like a development framework.
Those buzzwords that we love.
Yeah, buzzwords. I know some people do. Like if you've ever developed a website or been in that world, like a lot of people are familiar with like Agile or Scrum. So I was sort of what you would call a product owner, but my title there was Agile Release Manager. And then I was also a Scrum Master at one point there too. So it was, a lot of fun.
So what was the shift where you were like, you know what, I actually feel like I'm more aligned with this and I want to learn all about it? Because you don't just be born and know about human design. Like you had to do a ton of research and you had to learn all about it to be where you're at today. So like, what was that switch for you? Yeah,
so it really was all about kind of realizing that I was extremely unhappy, even though like I was making a lot of money for my age and I had this dream job. And at the time, like I live in California now, but that company is headquartered in Ohio, which is where I'm from. And everyone in my small hometown, it's like the dream company that everyone wants to work for. It's like they kind of like own the city in a weird way. And so it was like, oh my gosh, like you work there. That's so cool. And I just felt super unfulfilled. And I actually what kind of was the catalyst was I was going through a breakup in the beginning of 2019, and I had gone on a yoga retreat following that breakup by myself in Costa Rica. Was like, I just need to soul search. I really felt lost. And I had known that that was my first job after college. So when I joined there, I like felt really depressed because I was moving back home and all of my friends are moving to like Chicago and New York and Los Angeles and all these big cities. And so I just always felt like I had this golden handcuff to my hometown, and it was, really depressing. And so even though it was this great opportunity, it just never really felt aligned for me. And so kind of going through a breakup and then doing some soul searching, I was, I guess, sort of manifested it, which I'm a huge manifestation freak as well. So
we love manifesting over here. So.
Yeah. If you're in spirituality.
Yeah. What is manifesting? Give us a little.
Manifesting is simply just bringing the things into your life that you desire and doing that without friction. Mm-hmm. So it's just like the things that you want in life. I think that people can say that manifestation is somewhat woo-woo, but it's really not. It's just like, it's kind of the same thing as like the power of prayer. It's like, what are the things that I want and how can I bring those into my world?
I've heard it as like you are ordering something at a restaurant and you're just waiting for it to come. And that's how you manifest. You're ordering what you want into your life and then you just wait for it to come.
I love that analogy. I've never heard that. But so I basically went on this yoga retreat, and it's so cool because if I go back and I read my journal, I had wrote stuff about like, I want to work in the wellness industry. I want to work for myself, and I want to do something where I'm helping people. And I've always been extremely like intuitive and into, astrology. I'm a Scorpio. I have that tattooed on my neck. I even got a moon tattoo while I was in Costa Rica.
Oh, I love it.
And, I've always had like really weird experiences with like, I wouldn't say I'm like a psychic or a medium, but I've always had like weird stuff happen in my life where maybe if I tapped into that, I could probably develop those powers a little bit stronger. But so I kind of was like, I really want to, work in that industry. And what sort of happened was I actually got really depressed after that trip where I ended up spending a lot of time like trying to leave where I was, and I was applying for jobs. And so funny because I live in Irvine, California. And so I was applying for all these jobs out here. And one of the companies that I interviewed for was at Taco Bell, and they're headquartered in Irvine. And I was like, oh, like what's Irvine? And I remember looking it up and nothing worked out. And I ended up meeting my now boyfriend, and I ended up meeting him like shortly after that. And I was like, this isn't going to be anything serious. Like, we're totally like, I'm leaving here. I'm going to California. Like, and I ended up actually becoming really happy and like really enjoying the position that I was in and that job. But so like a year later, it was the pandemic, and it was just funny enough how your manifestations can sort of like come back around. I sort of stopped caring about the California thing, and I started to just kind of embrace where I was, even though it didn't feel fulfilling. And he was like, I'm going to start travel nursing. And so he actually was like, well, I'm going to California for a contract. Do you want to come? And we literally moved to Irvine. And so in that process though, I had found I had known about human design, but I had like refound it. And I always say that like human design finds us. So like, you and the producer here, like it always comes to people like when they least expect it. And it always comes at like the most divine time. And so for me, although I'd heard about it before, it sort of came back around for me. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I totally forgot. And so we were in this pandemic and I was really feeling lost. So I ended up scheduling a reading and just, falling in love with it. So I was like, I think I'm going to just keep learning it just for fun, just to do on the side. And then I realized like, this is like my purpose. Like I've never felt so driven in something in my entire life.
I love that you say purpose, because I always say, let your job and stuff be your purpose and not necessarily your passion. And I think that's where people always are chasing this passion. It's like, well, what do you feel purposeful about? What do you feel like is, and I feel like with human design, I'm so glad I met you through that, because I felt like, okay, now I understand the purpose of what I'm doing. Like in human design, what do you think that people don't understand about it that you wish they knew? So it's not like a religious system. I've also heard like it's a cult.
Well,
we also like cults over here, so.
Okay, perfect. But so I've heard a bunch of different things, and it's funny because I'm from a small town in Ohio, so people are like, oh my God, like you're some like crazy witch or something. And I'm like, no, it'd
be cooler if you were a witch.
I'm like, I am, but this isn't what that is. But no, it's like, it's yeah, human design is like just this system that helps us like understand ourselves. And so everyone has an energy type. So
remind everyone what you are again.
I'm a generator.
Okay, and I'm a manifesting generator.
You're a manifesting generator.
Can you define that for us?
Yeah, so there's 5, and so generator is the most common type. That's what I am. It really just means that you're someone who is meant to like follow this like life force energy. Like generators are extremely like, they're doers, they're builders, they're creators, and manifesting generators are very similar to generators, and they're also extremely common. But
bummer.
They, I know, right? But they actually combine one of the other types, which is called a manifester. But manifesting generators are like very multi-passionate, very curious, very multi-hyphenate people that are here to do and accomplish many diverse things. And so like one of the things with being a manifesting generator is like following the things that excite you and that you like are just curious about, even if they don't match to anything else. So like for you, like you're a career coach and you do so many things, and I'm sure you have interests way outside of just that. And it's really important that you like follow those things and not necessarily like niching down. Like that's the most limiting thing you could tell a manifesting generator.
Oh man.
Yeah. And so the other type, so generators and manifesting generators make up like 75 to 78% of the population. And then projectors make up around 22% of the population. Okay. And those are people that are like, they're natural guides, natural leaders, natural advisors. They're amazing at devising systems, seeing things in an upgraded way. And then manifestors are the 4th type, and they are about 3 to 5% of the population. And you're a little bit of a manifester because you're a manifesting generator, but manifestors are people that are really like trailblazers. They get to where they're going really quickly. They create a lot of impact. They're really bold, and they can be leaders as well. And then the final type, which is called a reflector, it's only 1% of the population, and they have no consistent energy. They're very like celestial, I like to say, and they are people that are really meant to have life surprise them, and they're meant to like be in touch with like their environment. They're mirrors, reflectors, the words make sense. So they're like mirrors to people that they're around. And so they're like the people that you can look to see like, okay, like how are we doing? And like how are things in the world? Like,
have you come across reflectors?
Oh yeah. Actually, like weirdly, I think I've worked with more reflectors than I have manifestors, but I think reflectors naturally like tend to be into this sort of stuff. So I think they just are drawn to human design because they're like, oh my God, I'm so rare. I need to learn more.
If you're listening to this and you want to, like, we could dive into this for hours.
Oh yeah.
What's your website real quick, just so they know where to go to learn about these different things?
Yeah. So it's thedesignofyou.com. And there's a little section where you can get your chart. So you can just input your name and your birth info, and it'll populate your human design chart. So you can learn like what type you are. And then there's, so many layers to it, but yeah.
I hear Rami typing over there. Rami, are you
literally on her website right now?
what are you?
I'm a manifesting generator.
Okay.
So I'm also common.
Yeah.
So we have so much sacral energy here right now, which just means like generators and manifesting generators have like this area of their chart that gives them a lot of energy, a lot of consistent energy, and all the other types don't have that. So we're like the people that are just like powerhouses and can like really get through a lot of get to places that we want to go a lot quicker.
Nice. Okay, we're going to shift gears a little bit. Okay. What is the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you? Maybe if you were on like a one-on-one coaching call, or just something like it could be at your former job, but like any embarrassing moment that you've had while working in your career. Can you think of anything?
In my career, well, I don't know that this is like so embarrassing, but I have gone through an entire reading and the birth information was totally wrong.
Incorrect. Oh, no.
Yeah, which is like never good.
Yeah.
So now that happened once, and it was luckily with a friend of mine. So now I've just like right in the beginning, I'll be like, so you were born at this time.
Let's reiterate.
This place. And I just want to triple check because that was
when people do this, is it the place, like location is super important, right? And also the time?
Yep. The time is the most important.
Just so everyone knows. Okay. And here's another question I had for you. I do one-on-one coaching.
Yeah.
I'm really big into like a lot of this podcast is like about salary transparency and stuff. I know you mentioned you left like a almost 6-figure job to do this.
Yep.
It's really hard to make money off of one-on-one coaching. People ask me all the time, like, how do you make a living? Trading your time for money. What's something that you found, like, as you start to build? Is it courses? Is it programs? Like, where, like, if someone wanted to be a human design coach, how do they monetize that? How do they make money?
Yeah. So it's kind of like any service-based industry or being a coach. I think they're all relatively similar if you start to like pay attention. Like everyone does like either a group program or a one-on-one program or yeah, I mean, I think it's all different depending on what you do. Like, so for me, like I do readings, which, so I have like that one-on-one, which is sometimes like frustrating because you don't get to work with someone more than that.
Right.
Or you just become friends like you and I. You know, I do like longer term mentoring right now. So I teach human design readers.
Okay.
And I have courses around that.
Nice. So if someone wants to get into the industry, like, just so they know, there's so many different ways to do it besides just one-on-ones. Like you can build courses, you can build programs, you know, you can teach people that want to learn about human design.
I do merchandise stuff. I'm wearing, I just launched a necklace line.
Amazing.
So I do that. But yeah, there's all sorts of different programs that you can do. I think, I mean, the most important thing, and especially because I teach energetics, is like making sure that it feels good for you. So just like whatever feels like you can embody, like I think that's the best way that you can teach.
That makes so much sense. Yeah. Okay. This is going to be at the part of the podcast where we do some rapid fire questions.
Ooh, yay.
I had to include it.
Okay.
I like the name Smash or Pass. Okay. So it's like, is this designed or not aligned is what we're going to do.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah.
Okay. So just random questions. Okay. Broccoli.
Aligned.
Okay.
Or wait, or do I do?
That's, you can say aligned or not aligned. Okay.
Aligned,
broccoli.
Yep.
You like it?
Aligned.
Okay. Cats.
Aligned.
Okay.
Mostly dogs,
I felt like you were more of a dog person.
I totally am, but I like it.
Mediums.
Aligned.
Okay. 100%. Ghosts.
Align.
Okay. Making decisions based on your astrological sign.
Align.
Okay. Obviously human design.
Yeah.
Okay. Becoming a human design coach.
Align.
Okay. If you were to do anything differently in your journey, would you?
I would have left my job a lot sooner.
Yeah.
Yeah. It took me like almost 2 years to leave my job. I would have, the second I knew that it was like something I was purposeful and passionate about, I wish I would have just taken that jump because I would have been light years ahead of where I am now. So yeah, if you have that, anyone listening has that feeling that they have their thing, like just jump. Like it's never going to be perfect. You're never going to make the same money that you were at your corporate job. Like just follow the passion.
When I first started, I made $20,000 doing like one-on-one coaching, and I didn't know what I was doing, but I just felt like it was right. And I feel like the pieces come together when you just like you said, you're like more aligned and you have this purpose. Yeah. It just starts to like work out. So
the universe totally conspires. Whatever you truly desire and are meant for, like it'll just kind of fall that into place. The second I quit my corporate job, I had 30 people sign up for readings with me, which is like the most I've ever had in one day of like,
what?
Yeah, it was like the universe being like, yep, thank you. We've been waiting for you to do this. Yeah. So
Rami, make note of that. That's going to be a clip on the YouTube. Just kidding. No, that's amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming. I want everyone to know like where to follow you, where to get all your things. And I know you do readings. So if you had like maybe a code or something you want to share, you know, for the listeners, give us all your info. Yeah. So I'm at The Design of You on Instagram, and my website's thedesignofyou.com. And if you guys want to schedule a reading with me, I also, more than readings, I do something called a chart summary, which is like this beautiful PDF of your entire design. And so basically like I get your birth time and then I write this entire document. It's like a personalized book about who you are. Those are also really great resources. And so I sell those, do readings. I also teach human design readers and also have some fun merch if you're really into it. And if you want a discount on all of that, you can just do Darci. And just Darci. That's what you can do, and I'll get you all your listeners a discount. Yeah, perfect. Thanks so much. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming to the Down and Dirty. Yeah, we got down, we semi got dirty, and it was so nice to meet you in person and be here. Yeah, thank you, Darci. Thanks. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. Follow Leah at The Design of You. You can follow me at Career Coach Darci and onomy at onomy.co. Check us out. We have a podcast every single week, and subscribe, you know, wherever you get your podcast, and watch us on YouTube. Thank you again for coming. Thank you so much for having me. Yeah.